I have my mouth full already.
Because you have goodies in front of you. That's why.
Well, I did do a fast lunch today because I went down to meet a friend down in Grapevine. Ended up having lunch with him and his dad and his
Fun.
business people. But my lunch came late, so I'm trying to wolf it down because they're finished up. So anyway,
Got it.
yeah.
Well, my lunch was quite interesting. I got a little thrown off this morning because I get a call from Wells Fargo. There's been some what they think is fraudulent activity. There was 3 charges, 2 of which I know for sure they were me. The third one, I'm like, I don't know what that one is. So I have to research it. So instead of having them give me a new card, I told them to just continue to hold it. So then that threw off my whole morning. And then I had an 8:30 client appointment until 4 o'clock. So it was go, go, go. They said, oh, if you didn't bring your lunch, there's a lot of eateries around there. Well, normally there would be a lot of eateries that would be open, but being that it is a holiday, a lot of them were actually, all of them were closed. So I did find DQ. So I got a kid's meal from DQ, which would not be something I would normally eat. And here we are.
Did you get your calendar?
No, from whom? Don't tell me Cindy.
From Cindy.
You know what? It might be at my office. I did check my my office mail, I think on Thursday, but I wasn't in the office on Friday because I had all day meetings, and then today I was at all day meetings, so I didn't go into the office. I won't get there till tomorrow, so I will be able to check it out.
What's today anyway? The 16th.
The 16th, January 16th. So today's National what day?
Fig Newton Day.
Oh, don't have Fig Newtons on my schedule to.
No, tomorrow's Bootleggers Day.
Oh, okay, all right.
Just saying. Anyway.
Thank you, Cindy. We appreciate you.
So I don't know if Cindy, I told her, she actually messaged. I stopped by one of her shows today.
Oh, okay, nice.
All right. So today is part 2 of our dry January.
Yep.
And I decided that, based on what the options were in the store, to get what everybody thinks of when they think of non-alcoholic beer.
Okay.
What is the one thing everybody thinks of with non-alcoholic beer?
Oh, duels.
Ta-da!
But see, if you put it into a pretty glass, it tastes much better. The funny thing is, what I was going to do, and I was going to be mean, sorry, Bud Light, but what I was going to do, it's like, oh, we were doing a non-alcoholic beer, and I was going to bring on Bud Lights.
Well, I also got to know, because this one here has been advertised a lot over the last year, the Heineken Zero.
Okay.
But I didn't bring a glass in. I only brought the bottles in.
Okay. Well,
my bad.
This had been given to me.
While I go get a glass.
Okay, you do that. So I was given Lagunitas, which is a non-alcoholic IPA. And if you've been listening to the show long enough, you do know that I constantly tell you how much I do not like IPAs. But this one was given to me. I was not about to get rid of it. I thought one of these days I'm going to want a beer at some point during the day, and this will be perfect because if I'm at the office, I do not want to be having alcohol right before I talk to a client. So I was given this one, and this Lagunitas Brewing is from Petaluma, California, and Chicago, Illinois. So they're in 2 different locations, and it's 12 fluid ounces, and their ingredients are malt, hop, yeast, and water. So that is all that is in this IPNA. So the N is for the non-alcoholic here. So IPNA. And the other one that I found is this Athletic Brewing Company, which is an upside dawn. So instead of down, it's an upside dawn. Okay. They had an IPA, which again, I'm like, I already have one IPA. I don't need 2. And then they had another one, which I think was a red ale. The other thing that I saw, which I almost grabbed, I almost went to that one, was a Guinness Dark is like a malty one in a black can, and that one really grabbed me. It was a tall boy, and I almost got that one, but I thought, you know what? I don't know that I want anything too heavy, because I want to really be able to taste it and see if I like it. So this one is brew without the compromise. The other nice thing about Athletic Brewing is that they have more than just the beer, non-alcoholic beer. They have other things, including sparkling water. Uh, so they do have, based on your flavor profile. There were three when I bought these, but they do have a dark, they have a golden, an IPA, a lager, a light, a stout, a wheat, and then they also will do a variety. So that way you can get your winter wheat, during that time of year, because it's a limited edition. So that's kind of a nice thing where you're getting other options when it comes to your beer. And if you go online to athleticbrewing.com, you can actually look at their collection. You can decide, do I want it refreshing? Do I want it nutty? Do I want it spicy or woody? And then based on that, they will give you options saying, oh, these are the ones to try. Or if it's seasonal, is it fall, winter, summer, or year round? So you get to choose what you would like. But what I did find funny is that there is an Athletic Light. Well, you know what? This is a light beer already because there is no alcohol. But one thing that I did not look at was the calories. So this can have.
Doesn't light usually refer to the calories, not the alcohol?
Right. So this one is 45 calories is what this one has. This one does not have it, but this is more of a malt beverage. Let me see if I get the calories in here. I don't see calories on this particular one. And if it's in really small print, I absolutely cannot see it because I'm that blind. So this one doesn't have the calorie count, but this one has 45 calories. And I thought, okay, that's actually
69 calories.
Okay.
This one here is a little more blurred. 68 calories.
Okay. All right. And so just trying something different. This one, I think, oh my goodness, I was trying to see if I can get the caloric count on this one. Oh, so under the light, it's 25 calories. So you're almost half of this one here. So, it depends on your calorie count. The other reason why I went with this one, the upside dawn, because it's golden, I thought, well, sometimes you might want a michelada. So a michelada is like your Bloody Mary and beer, if you will. You can do all the mixing, what have you. But I thought this might actually go well with the michelada. Try something different.
We actually did those last year. So, but I did bring an extra drink here just to be safe, because what I drink when I decide not to drink is good old-fashioned Dr. Pepper. Now, I'm not sure if you can get this Dr. Pepper up there. This is real sugar Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've seen that at all.
Yeah, this is original recipe with real sugar, and these are the Dr. Peppers I prefer. Okay. But like when I travel, I can't get these. Yeah,
that's something that doesn't even look familiar. I even like their the logo. It looks very old style logo.
Yeah, it is. This is their old style logo. So anyway.
So I wanted to compare the colors on these to see if there was a difference.
Same thing. I'm gonna get them cracked, and I got two different glasses to. Yeah. We'll do the O'Doul's in the plain old glass.
There you go. So the IPA does have a little bit more color and more bubbles than the Dawn. And what did you have for food? I thought you had said pretzel, and that was one thing that I was like going, ooh, I like pretzels.
Yeah, we did get pretzels because of the fact I got a soft pretzel, but they didn't have the ones I normally get.
Aw.
So, but they had these other ones, and of course they're frozen, and basically I take them out frozen, I dip them in water, and then I'm able to sprinkle the salt on it. It catches the salt, and then I just microwave them for about a minute.
Okay.
So, and they're very, very soft. The warmness is almost gone because I warmed them just before we went live.
Right.
All right. And I have some cheese, some nacho cheese, and then I've got some stone ground mustard.
Oh, of course.
Two things I have with them. But other than that, I just I've been watching Cheers, and you got to have bar food.
Right.
But healthy bar food would be your pita chips.
Okay. Well, I forgot to grab the nuts, but one thing that I did make yesterday were some homemade chips.
Homemade potato chips,
With
yeah.
yes, with red and regular chips. And then I reheated them up in the oven, but they were tasty pretty much yesterday. They got a little bit more golden because I threw them in the oven.
Yeah, yeah.
They're super easy to make. You slice them really thin. It's supposed to be like 1/8 of an inch. So just slice them thin. You go from the top rack to the bottom rack. And then I threw them back on the top rack another 5 minutes because I wanted them nice and crispy and with more color. But what you can do is put them on a cookie sheet with parchment paper. Put your really thinly sliced potatoes on there. Make sure that you put the cooking spray on them. And then you can sprinkle them with nothing. I didn't do that with this because I didn't have it, but with the everything bagel seasoning will give them a delicious flavor.
I thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, what I ended up doing is that I got one of the McCormick seasonings, the garlicky one, and then I sprinkled some of the fresh ground white pepper on it, but it was fresh ground, so it was, gets that texture. I didn't want like just pepper. I wanted that texture. And then I sprinkled a little bit of kosher salt on top, and then a little bit of paprika to give it some color, and then threw it in the oven. And so I tasted them yesterday, a couple of them, but I saved them for today. Yeah. The other thing that I made was you got to have dip, so I made this sour cream with Worcestershire sauce and some hot sauce. And I added some scallions in there. You can put, if you want, you can put shallots in there too to give it a little bit of flavor. And then you just mix it in with
could you chop a little bit of spinach up put in there too, maybe?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? And then the other thing that I did is that because the Cowboys are playing today and it's almost, the Super Bowl time, I made this wannabe, let's see if I can get it down so you can see it. My little wannabe football.
Yeah. Just like we have wannabe football players, they're called Cowboys.
Oh, that's just mean, but yes. So
hey, I didn't call them the Cowgirls, as most people are calling them right
now. That
yeah.
is true. That is true.
Yeah. See, the Cowboys here in Dallas. All right. By the way, you do know that when I moved to Dallas in 1998, I said, you know what would be really cool? To live in a town where they win the Super Bowl.
And
they haven't even made it past the first round of the playoffs since I've been here. But the town I came from that looked like was never going to win the Super Bowl has been there twice and won once.
It happens. Sometimes we have to leave. Maybe you have to move out of the area. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't live in Dallas anymore. All right, so I poured both of my beers. Okay. The solid cup. This is what for looks. This is the O'Doul's.
Okay.
This is the Heineken. So if you look, the colors aren't that far off.
Okay. Yeah. See, mine the colors are different. So this is the IPA.
Yeah.
It's darker. It might look a little bit of orange.
Darker, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is the Dawn. So a lot, so you can tell the color difference in there. Although the IPA does look a little bit more orange on the screen. But yes, there is a color difference.
It's more amber there.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what I did with my little ball here, my little football, I put, because what I had, I wasn't able to get the string cheese to make the laces. I just used Swiss cheese, but this is cream cheese and sharp cheddar cheese all mixed together. And then I folded it into what's supposed to be a football. What I didn't do was I didn't do the cheese on top until today. That's why it's not settled. But you're supposed to then wrap it in actually you're supposed to use walnuts. I used almonds instead, so it's not as dark as it should be. And then you're supposed to wrap it in the cellophane and let it get hard over a couple of hours. I did this overnight, and then I put the Swiss today, and then of course got some chips or some crackers, and then some bell peppers. So that was kind of what I wanted to do as kind of easy bar food, if you will. But
I almost thought about, instead of bar foods, of doing healthy foods, because we're like, when I first thought about this, I thought we should do it like something along the cleanse line, because the beginning of the year you want to cleanse sometimes. We're really not eating cleansing foods.
But they aren't, these are easy to make, and not that, when you're making your own chips, you're not adding all the additives. So this is a great way to reduce your caloric intake without giving up some yummy foods, and then if you use the low calorie cheese, or you can use alternative cheese, there's a lot of different things you can do to still keep it healthy, and then have your veggies in there. So, keep it healthy and light.
This O'Doul's reminds me, really, I mean, it's got beer taste, and it reminds me of sitting in the pub and having a draft.
Mm-hmm.
Like back home, standard bar, your Budweiser, whatever draft. What was around draft? You know what I mean? Not your IPAs and your fancy stuff.
Right.
But it's just a standard, it tastes like a standard pub draft. So not that far off on that one.
So this IPA, I like that it doesn't taste like grapefruit, but it has that stronger flavor in it. So I do like that, and it definitely goes well with the chips. And then I'm gonna use my bell peppers to cleanse.
And the Heineken tastes like a typical Heineken.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. Not much. I mean, it does. I mean, and I remember when I was younger, I drank a lot of Heineken. So, I mean, it was a good beer, but now I drink local craft brews. But
right. So this, again, the Upside Dawn. This one tastes more citrusy. So this has more of a citrus flavor to it, but it does taste like one of those refreshing beers that you would have, out and about.
Mm-hmm. Goes really well with them. I mean, pretzels and beer.
And I'm going to pull out a little bit of this cheese onto my cracker because I haven't tried that yet. So this is a new recipe that I'm trying, this little cheese ball. Haha! I like that crunchiness of the almonds.
Mm-hmm.
I think the walnuts would have made it a little bit more woodsy, and I think the walnuts would have gone very well with this IPA. So the cheese, that cream cheese went very well with this. I do like that.
I'm not a big beer drinker anymore, but still, I'm not going to say either one of these beers are disappointing in taste. They're not a custom local brewery like I'm accustomed to drinking now, but they're not a weak tasting, watered down Miller Bud Light type drink. They're not, you know what I mean? You understand what I mean by that watered down taste? They're not.
Yeah, this one has a kind of a honey, citrusy, but then I started tasting some honey, and I don't know if it was the cheese or the sharp cheese in there that brought out the flavors, but I got a little bit of a taste of a honey in this one, in the Upside Dawn. So that's quite different. I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna try making a little bit of the, just a little taste. I'm gonna throw what would be, trying to make like a michelada.
Well, now I'm going to do like what I normally would drink them. That is Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Wow. So if you use the upside down for the michelada,
Yeah.
that has good flavor. That has, again, a michelada. You can add your tomato juice, your Worcestershire sauce, your hot sauce, or you can just use a Bloody Mary mix, like
Oh yeah.
Mary's Mixers. You
Yeah.
can use that with the beer, and then add a little bit more lime juice if you'd like. You can add cucumbers in there to give it a little bit of a crispy flavor in there, some very fresh flavors. Add ice to it because that is definitely a michelada, and you can also put the rim. You can make it. See, what you can do with some of these is just upscale your drink by adding like some chamoy or some tajin onto it. You know, you just add the lemon or lime juice on there, dip it your glass, then pour it in, you know, and then serve it with, you know, a quarter, you know, one of the cucumbers, just a quarter of a cucumber, a long one, just in there, and it just do something different to it, make it fun. Because when you make a drink fun, it'll taste that much better. A friend of mine, she was pregnant. She had no idea she was, well, she had asked for a non-alcoholic drink, but when she was drinking it, it was so good with all the goodies in a pretty glass. It looked beautiful and it had great flavor. She did not miss the alcohol.
Oh.
This is really yummy. I like this. I really do like this. My chips came out really good. But I think that even though I put them in a Ziploc baggie to keep them nice and fresh, and I reheated them in the oven, these truly need to be eaten the same day that you make them.
Okay.
Because that way they maintain their crispiness.
Will you share your recipe on the Facebook page this week?
Mm-hmm. I will. Yeah, and this dip was pretty yummy. When Sean saw me putting all this stuff into the little daisy, he goes, "Oh, wait, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm making for my podcast." Oh, hold on one second. That's what I get for trying to eat and talk at the same time. But I only had so much sour cream left.
Yeah.
So I figured mix it in there and then pour it in here, because it would have been easier, you know, when you're trying to mix and you're trying to get all the edges. And then I want to just put it in here to hold. But I'm glad I left them in a little bit longer to get the crisp in there, because otherwise you just have some good potatoes, but I wanted that crispiness. That was where I was coming from with these. So make them nice and thin, or slice them nice and thin. If you have a mandolin, it's a lot easier. I hand cut these so they're not exactly equal in size.
Yeah.
But
so I know a lot of people talk about this dry January. I know we talked about it last week and the creation and the idea behind it.
right.
Have you tried to stick to dry January at all? I'm curious.
I didn't really try. I go through spurts of not drinking.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes it's been in the past where I go 2-3 months. It's like, oh, I haven't had anything. My alcohol will last me a long time. It's usually when I have company that the alcohol is consumed a lot quicker. But I will have a good bottle of scotch. It'll last me 10, 11 months before it's gone. And it's because I baby it, because it's my good scotch. Whereas my vodka, that might be drank a little bit quicker because it's vodka, you know.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what's going on at this time, because I didn't have, I really haven't had a whole lot this month. You know, I might have a little bit of Sean got me this bottle of Smirnoff that is tamarind flavor, spicy tamarind, which is absolutely delicious. And so I'll get my little glass and I'll pour this much, which is about not quite a shot. And it just tastes so good. And it's just yummy to sip on it before dinner. So I did do that last weekend and this weekend, but that was all I drank, you know, and that was okay. You know, so I haven't been diligent like I probably should, especially because we're doing these mocktails. I will tell you, last week though, my office neighbor, I told her about the gimlet and she goes, that sounds good. What's in it? And I told her, I go, you want me to make you one? She goes, yeah. So I made her one and she drank it because she had had a long day. And I said, do you want another one? She goes, yeah. So, and she really liked the idea of the non-alcoholic Monday gin. And
Yeah.
she thought it tasted delicious in that, caught that very well, in the gimlet. So that was one that she absolutely just appreciated, a very refreshing drink that tasted alcoholic but was not,
Was
especially
not.
after a long day. Yeah, absolutely. So that was kind of a fun, stayed in the office a little bit longer, had work to do, but took care of her, cleaned up, and then worked some more because I was like, hey, I'm awake. I got.
I got awake. Yeah. I thought about it this week, and I forget where it was. That I'm like, no, I'm holding back, and I did. I think maybe other than the night we did the, you know what I mean, the tasting of two vodkas
Right.
and juice
They haven't had it.
in our Bloody Mary mix. I think like last night, I had a little bit of bourbon because I smoked a ham on the smoker yesterday, and I made a glaze with it, and bourbon was part of my glaze. So I'm like, I poured myself a little bit of bourbon, and I'm like, wow, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I was trying to hold back and I was trying to my best.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me think through this and drive, and try to stick to it. But then again, I don't drink a lot. I really don't drink a lot. Gwen and I, we used to do the martini when she got home, but and I wish I brought the glasses in. We use those little champagne glasses.
Oh yeah,
the 1800s that were her.
Yeah, those are adorable.
Yeah, and that was what we drank. But and Gwen drinks a bigger one now, and I hardly ever drink it. You know what I mean? I'll taste it, but I don't drink it like I used to. Which that's something we haven't done on the show yet, is a martini. And I'm like I used to say a dirty martini. All right? I really love the olive juice mixing with the vodka. So I like a lot of olive juice in mine. All right. But I've done the same concept with pickle juice.
Oh yeah.
Which I think you've heard of that too, right? Where people, it's not really,
Sean
same
does it all the
drink,
time.
it's just done with pickle juice as opposed to olive juice. And I love that. I mean, to me, those are two great tastes. All right. That by themselves I wouldn't drink, right? But you put a little bit of vodka with them, and it was like, oh man, those are really good. So,
well, Sean loves that. Yeah. We always have pickles, and sometimes when we're out of pickles, he's all, keep the juice.
Yeah. Exactly.
He'll fill one of these guys with pickle juice, 3/4 pickle juice, and then 1/4 vodka, and he'll drink that. He loves it. It's very refreshing. I prefer during the summer a little bit more than in the winter, but yeah, double olive juice. There you go.
That's it, Cindy. You've got it. Double olive juice. That's me.
Nothing wrong with that.
What can I say? I'm a dirty old man.
I remember having a gentleman's martini one time. I was like, ooh, that sounds so appropriate. I will have one of those. And if they just get rid of they're only using the juice, but making sure that there's none of the olive pieces in there. That's the gentleman's martini, because it's nice and clean. It's not dirty. It's a gentleman's. Like, okay. So it's still, olive juice, just not, you don't get any of the pieces.
So this is week 2 of we're really not going to be buzzed after our show because there's no alcohol in our drinks.
Right.
So.
But you know what? With these good foods, and these are pretty good beers. This Lagunitas IPA, I actually like this, and I'm not an IPA drinker. This one didn't have that grapefruit flavor, which I really appreciated.
You know what, though? We do have, and I know this because I know some of the people who watch our show on a regular basis. We have people who follow our show who are alcoholics and don't drink.
Right.
Right. And I got to say, guys, if you miss beer, I'd have one of these if I was a non-alcoholic drinker. I'd have one of these every now and then. It's probably not my regular drink.
Right.
All right, but I'd have one of these every now and then. So,
And the other thing from last week, because I like whiskey and my brown liquor so much, I wasn't impressed, and I had mentioned that before. That's why I made a mixed drink with that whiskey, that non-alcoholic whiskey, which was still, but the gin, oh my goodness, that I really like. If I were to buy that Monday gin, I would buy it again. That one,
yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I think it would be a great refreshing drink for the summer. That was a really good one because it just had that nice refreshing flavor, and you can have the gin kick in there without having the actual gin in there because it's not junipery. It's mellowed out just a little bit, which there are some gins out there that aren't too junipery, and I might pull it out when we do the comparisons with gins. I might pull that one out just to compare it side by side next to a gin to say how close is it.
Yeah.
But I'm not a huge gin drinker either. So
I'm not either, but I mean, my mom drinks gin and tonics here at the house. So I've always got gin at my house. So between gin and vodka, I'll bet you I have 4 kinds of vodkas out there.
Oh, okay.
Not including the one bottle of Crater Lake I have stashed in here. My wife came in the office on Saturday when I was doing something in here, and she goes, "Oh, hiding that one from me?" And I'm like,
Yep.
Kind of. Like, we still have one more show we're going to do that with. No.
I had a bottle of the Glenlivet 18 that I put into the box. That was the Glenlivet 14. And then I said, and it was a nice surprise to pull out the 18 from the 14. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put you back. I'm not going to drink you right now. You're the 18. You're more special than the 14. So that's part of it, is that some of these bottles are just more special. They're going to be touched less regularly. They're going to be more of a, I really would like that for whatever reason. And then I have my others that I'll drink, because, I just do. But right now it's been kind of, no need. I'm all right. So I have, I guess to a certain extent, I've been kind of less this month, but I've also I'm trying to look at where's my workout schedule, where's my eating, am I eating where I need to be? I have some goals of things on my body that it's not about losing weight for me, it's about gaining my muscle mass back that I lost. And so I'm trying to do that again. And once I do that, I will gain weight because my muscles will be a little bit heavier, but I will be toned down. And so in order to do that, I really have to look at what's my caloric intake, yes. But also, if I'm having those calories, are they useful calories for me, or are they empty calories? And is it worth it? So if I'm having a really good drink, you know what? It might be worth it for me. If I'm just drinking a drink, then it's kind of, I don't want to waste the calories on that because I may want to have a cheeseburger, and I want my calories in that burger versus that drink. And so, but I would rather have no sweets than give up my alcohol, but I'm also very particular. So what's most important, and then the consequences that go along with that. Is it going to take me longer to reach the goals I want to reach? So here we are. And here I am as I eat more chips because these are really good. I really like these chips, and this is a good dip.
Yeah. Well, so we had last Wednesday night, we went to eat at my son's in-laws Chinese Taiwanese restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the stuff we pigged out on.
Yeah, that's why it's like I gotta go. I have things to do, places to be, and people to see. It's like, okay.
That was my Wednesday night. All right, and I'm just like, so much. So I've been doing so much different samplings of foods, and then my neighbor, who's from El Salvador, he does. Oh God, what were these things called? They're like they taste almost like a potato.
Tostones? No, it's not tostones. No. Tostones are made with plantains.
I want to say these are like a bread type, but it's like a carrot mix that you have. Pupusas. Look at that.
Oh,
She knew.
oh.
Cindy knew what I was talking about.
I don't know how, because you said potatoes and it wasn't, I was like going, well, what's potatoes? But yeah, pupusas are not made with potatoes,
No,
y'all.
they're not.
It's
But you'd think
it's
they were when you taste them.
they're made with masa, and they are stuffed with either cheese or loroco, which is a type of it's like a fruit or a veggie, depends on how you look at it. Or they will have pork inside,
Yes.
or black beans, and or revuelta will have the cheese and the beans and the pork and everything in it, and then it is deep fried. But and by itself, it's okay.
Yeah.
The best part of a pupusa is the pickling that goes on top.
Yes,
And
that's
so,
pickled carrots.
yeah,
Oh my
so
gosh,
it's got
that good.
all this pickling on top, and then you add on top of that the little red salsa that
Yeah.
is non-spicy, because in Guatemala and in El Salvador, the food is really not spicy. And so you have this gorgeous tomato sauce that goes on top of that, and it is absolutely delicious. So yes, pupusas are, a traditional Salvadorian food, and depends on where you're at, they might be hard to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, his wife made him and he brought him over. I was doing something.
Nice.
And she says like, well, oh yeah, Antonio just brought these over. A half hour later, he texts me, hey, we got fajita meat on the grill over here. You want to come over? So I go over, and like all the guys, like he's got a bunch of friends over.
Mm-hmm.
All the guys are in the garage around the barbecue grill cooking fajita meat.
Nice.
And all the girls are in the house. So we're out there, beers and fajitas. And I'm like, he's prepping all the food for everybody. He just roast a couple pieces of meat, pull it up, chop it up a little bit, toast a tortilla, put it on and eat it. I had a little bit of pepper onto it. No salsa. That's how I ate it. I'm like, oh my God. Oh.
Good stuff.
All the good food I get now with all the people I know. So,
not a bad thing.
Nope.
Yeah, pupusas are not the healthiest themselves, but the pickling is very healthy. You can do more with the pickling, but it just with the pickling, the difference between that pickling and like a Guatemalan pickling is that they use oregano. That's one of the spices that are in there that gives it that flavor on top of being pickled. One of my friends, she's from El Salvador. Oh my goodness, we've been great friends for over 20 years. And she makes a delicious pickling and really good pupusas. And too bad she lives in Texas, because I don't get to taste her stuff hardly anymore. We used to cook together all the time, and we would just blend our flavors, and it worked out for us. But try new things, venture out. When you're venturing out, you get to try something that you wouldn't have otherwise. Start with something that's, what do you recommend? And then just get the one thing. Don't think, I'm going to have everything. Just try one thing. And you can try it from the appetizer section, or the small plates. Don't feel like, oh, I have to get this big plate. No. What if you don't like what's that big plate? Start with something small. Just like with the drinks, get the little minis to try something new. If somebody that drinks non-alcoholic beer, say, hey, can I taste one? Yeah. And one of my friends that gave up drinking, he gave me this one. He had given me another one too, and this one I hadn't drank just because it was an IPA, and I was kind of, I don't like IPAs, but I'll keep it there. And it tastes really good. I actually like the flavor.
You like it?
Yeah.
So
it's good flavor. It's really good flavor. I think that one tastes more like a beer than the Upside Down. Yeah. Upside Down is refreshing, but it is that lighter. And I think that
when you say lighter, are you thinking like a blonde lighter or like a fruity lighter?
No, more of it is a little fruity because it has that honey flavor in there, and it starts citrusy, but then I felt that honeyness. Yeah. So a little bit lighter flair, whereas this one tastes more like beer.
Okay.
So that's I think why I like this one is that this one has that beer taste. And if I'm having beer, I want to taste beer. When I go to a bar, I might have the amber, but I would prefer a lager or a wheat.
Yeah.
Because they just have more flavor. But if I'm looking at, I just want something very light, then I will go with the lager, because something light is perfect. Sometimes there might be with what I'm eating, or what I will be eating, or what I expect to be drinking. And so I might just want something that's on the very lighter side. This one is on that lighter side. The Lagunitas IPNA is more of a, hey, give me a lager, give me something that has more flavor, but it does not taste like an IPA, and that's the reason why I like this one. Because every IPA, I don't care who tells me what, it always tastes like grapefruit, and I don't like IPAs because
I know you don't like grapefruit. I love grapefruit
Yeah.
in my IPA, so that's probably one of the reasons why I love IPAs. All right. And I had one though. I don't know if it was an IPA, but I had a soda I had a beer in Arizona. I want to say it was 2017. I was at a resort in Arizona, just south of Phoenix, and they had a pineapple type beer.
Okay.
And actually, I remember getting it and really liking it. It was some local brewery, and I want to say this was on a like on a the resort was on a reservation.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it was a local brewery, I think, related to the reservation.
Okay. So you probably weren't getting it much outside that area.
No, I don't think I was able to get it much outside there because I think it was only made on the reservation. So yeah, no, and still, it was a shocking taste for me. I remember it because I went back. I ate mostly because I was there for my wife had a was there for business.
Okay.
All right, and I just because it was a nice resort, I rode the motorcycle out. It was my last motorcycle trip I ever took. I rode the motorcycle out to meet her, and then rode the motorcycle back. All right,
Nice.
She flew out and flew back.
So you had a little outing of your own.
Yeah,
Nice.
I did. Yeah, that was the last motorcycle trip I took, and on the way back, I made it all on the first day back. I got to the New Mexico, Texas line. I was in Las Cruces.
Okay, I know exactly where that is because I used to live about maybe 10 miles from there.
Yeah. Well, Katrina, who I do the other show with on Thursday, she lives there now.
Okay.
But I mean, I went there. I went to bed that night. Woke up the next morning looking at cloudy skies and mist. And what normally I would take off from there and make it a long day, but I would leave Las Cruces and I would be back home that night.
Okay.
It took me 2 days driving through pouring rain on the motorcycle to get home.
Miserable.
I know. I should have just stayed in Las Cruces, got a hotel for another 2 days, and waited out.
Yeah, you would have been less miserable. Yeah, I like Las Cruces. I used to live right across the border there in El Paso, and some of the folks lived in Las Cruces and would drive into El Paso every day to go to work. And I used to like going to Las Cruces and go into all the little towns into New Mexico. Cloudcroft was a cute little town there.
I love Cloudcroft.
That's one of my favorite little go-to places. And so yeah, I knew exactly where you were at.
Yep. So
what year was that?
That was 2017.
Okay, not that long ago. Okay, I was long gone.
At the end of 2018, I got rid of the motorcycle.
Okay. Yeah, I moved out of El Paso in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there for 4 years. Yep. And good times. So which one of the two beers was your preferred beer?
I'm still going to go with the Heineken.
Okay.
O'Doul's has a decent taste. I'm not going to cut down O'Doul's. And then again, they've been in the non-alcoholic beer realm a lot longer than anybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, or everybody calls non-alcoholic beer O'Doul's, right? Yep. But Heineken, all right. Heineken has had a craft for making beers for years. All right. And just when they come out with it, it's no surprise that their expertise in craft, right,
has come out in their
non-alcoholic. It comes out in their beer. Yep. And they're non-alcoholic beer. So not gonna criticize either one of them. I'm leaning a little bit more. I like the Heineken versus the O'Doul's. I finished off my Heineken, but I finished off my O'Doul's.
Well, Lagunitas has some really good beers that have a lot of flavor. Yeah. And I think that's where this is coming from, that sport of giving a lot of flavor to their beers. Athletic Brewing, I think they did very well. This is a good beer, but for what I want or what I wanted was a flavorful, just pow. This did not do it for me. It's okay. I think I probably should have gone with not the IPA, but there was another one that I should have gone with as my choice. I think that one probably would have given me that punch that I was looking for. So in this case, Lagunitas wins for me. I would drink this again. This one, I have 3 left. I'll drink them and I'll probably put them in my michelada. I can do a lot of things with this one, but this one would be one that it's like, hey, you know what? I can drink this.
Cool.
So,
That's awesome. Well, this is a very educational show this week because
yeah,
I probably never would have drank O'Doul's or never would have drank non-alcoholic beer.
right.
Had we not done it for an experiment for the show.
Right, exactly. And that's part of what we enjoy doing is try new things. Are we going to like it? Or are we not going to like it? We don't know until we try. I may or may not have made homemade chips. I may or may not have tried to make a wannabe football here. Half of it's gone. I did make a smaller portion than I would have otherwise.
The pretzels are gone, just for the record.
Okay.
I love soft pretzels because it's just something I grew up with. I love them.
Yeah. Oh, I love going to that was one thing when I would go to the mall as I was younger, is getting the pretzel time pretzels, and then the Auntie Anne's pretzels.
Auntie Anne's is a different.
Yeah, they're not as good in my opinion.
They're not. Auntie Anne's and that idea of Auntie Anne's. All right, and we may get those pretzels sometime and do them on the show because that's a flavor difference. Auntie Anne's has got like the buttery to it, as opposed to a typical soft pretzel is not that buttery,
right?
All right, and that's what it is. And the pretzel time ones were more towards the regular pretzel than the Auntie Anne's buttery,
right? Okay, maybe that's what it is. I was so used to that traditional flavor that I was happy with.
It's not traditional. It's a different. It's a unique taste. All right, but that being said, I mean, it's been a good show. All right. Next, we don't know what we're doing next week. We're going to talk about it after we get off the air today.
Yeah, because at the end of the month, on the 30th, we will not have a show. I will be traveling to Tennessee. So we had originally talked about making martinis towards the end of the month. We will decide if we will do that next week or if we want to.
When's the Super Bowl?
That is February the 12th. February 5th is when they're doing the Pro Bowl. And then on the 12th is Super Bowl of February.
So we can do a Super Bowl show on the 6th then.
Mm-hmm.
We still have time to do that. Good.
Yep. We got time for that. But thank you all for indulging our appetite for non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Doing something different, but you never know. Sometimes you just want a good beer, but you don't want the calories or you don't want the alcohol, or you have friends that might be trying to abstain. So there's different ways that you can honor them while you can still have the flavors, whether it be in a beer or a gimlet or, a pina colada or whatever it is that you might be making that has no alcohol. It is okay. So long as you have those flavors in there, I think you're going to be happy with what you're drinking, because you got to like the way you drink, because if not.
Yeah. If you don't, why do it?
Exactly.
You don't like the way you eat. Why eat that stuff? That's right. So why would you do that with drinking?
True story.
All right. So, all right, guys. Well, we bring this broadcast to you every week. All right. It's sponsored by both Gladys and I. My business is, Simple Easy Marketing, Simple Easy Virtual Events. We're actually going to host one tomorrow. Go to simpleeasyevents.com. All right. Find out more about what I do. And Gladys, tell them what you do.
I'm Insurance by Design, Gladys Boutwell, serving small businesses in Oregon, Washington, and California with their employee benefits to attract and retain quality staff. You can find me at insurancedesignpros.com. And if you have questions, it doesn't matter what state you're in. If there is a question, I will be able to answer that. And then guess what? I'm going to connect you with an absolute amazing broker in your state that will help take care of you. So just ask the questions. That's what we're here for, to support you, to answer those questions, and to make your life fun and easy. That's what we're here for.
And if you have drinking questions, put in the comments. We'll answer them.
Yes, that's part of the fun. That's why we do what we do, because we love answering questions and experimenting and trying things. And when there's a question, we're going to find out, well, why, and,
Exactly.
being able to talk about the different things that we bring on the show is one of the fun things. It's a conversation starter. So we truly enjoy what we do.
Exactly. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for another week. We will see you guys next week, and you'll have to find out what next week's show's about. Cheers.